I am Corey Solomon, and joining me as co-host is Scott Kindle. I want to go over some quick notes. We ask that you keep your microphones muted unless you are speaking during the Q&A portion of the program. You can also turn your video off and on clicking on the camera icon at the bottom of the screen. There is a chat feature, and we ask that you submit all your questions via chat. This will allow us to respond to all your questions. If we don't get to all your questions, we will have a transcript. There's a transcript, and we will follow up afterwards. Before we start, I want to note our next webinar we think will be video editing. That will be that will be Scott and my husband, Kenneth Bornstein, who is a film and TV editor. So we thought that might be fun and a learning experience for everyone. At the end, I'll go over the upcoming webinars. I do want to let everybody know up front, we are going to have a drawing after the Q&A. When we pull the raffle tickets, I made up raffle tickets. Anyway, when we go ahead and pull, if you are not present, we are going to go to the next person. So you have to be present to win the raffle. So now let me introduce our guest speaker. It's Deborah Wakefield, and she is the Vice President of CityPASS. Many of you already know, have worked with CityPASS before. I know I have, and Deborah's a great person to work with, and they cover a lot of cities. So at this point, let me introduce Deborah, and I'll let you take it from here, Deborah.
Great. Thank you, Corey and Scott. So I know a lot of you have probably used CityPASS before and may be familiar with how the tickets work, but I thought I'd give, for those of you who haven't used it before, just a very short introduction into what it is. And we were the very first bundled attraction pass in the United States. So there are lots of other options now, but first, our two co-founders, Mike Moore and Mike Gallagher, are on the screen there, and they are flanking our current president and CEO, Megan Allen. So CityPASS was their idea. And what they wanted to do was market a city like a theme park, where you got that one golden ticket and it got you into all the good attractions once you had that in your hand. So that was the impetus behind their idea. They also wanted to make sure that our buyers enjoyed major discounts when they went into the attractions. So for most of our cities, that discount is between 40 and 50%. So very significant. And then Mike Morey, who is on the left in the plaid shirt, he used to own a research company that focused specifically on research for aquariums, zoos, and museums. And one of the questions they would always ask people when they were doing research is, what's holding you back from visiting this attraction or planning a vacation? And three of the big things were cost, time, and that fear of missing out. So obviously cost is a big factor for a lot of people when they're planning a trip, especially if you have a family. If you've got 4 or 5 people that you have to buy tickets for to get into things, that can be a major hurdle. So we wanted to make sure that CityPASS gave people a really nice discount on the attractions without at all affecting the experience that they were having. Time is another stressor for people when they're planning a vacation. Do I have enough time to really enjoy this attraction and see it as I want to? And that's the reason that CityPASS tickets will have a limited number of admissions included for each destination. We try and match the number of admission tickets to the average length of stay for our CityPass buyers. So for example, New York is our longest stay destination for our buyers. They're typically there between 6 to 8 days. And so we limit the number of tickets in the CityPass for New York to 6 admissions. That means you can spend an entire day at the Metropolitan Museum of Art. You still won't see everything, but you don't have to rush. You don't have to keep looking at your watch and feel like, I gotta get out of here and go to my next place because I need to get the value out of this ticket. So we want people to have a lot of time to experience the attractions, really immerse themselves in it, make some great memories before they go to the next place. And CityPass tickets for almost all of our destinations are valid for 9 consecutive days. So that gives you quite a bit of time, a week, and then the weekends on either end of that in which to use all your tickets. And then there's that FOMO, that fear of missing out. And one of the reasons that we only include the really big marquee attractions is because we want to make sure that if you are visiting a destination, especially as a first-time visitor, you don't miss anything really major. So that's why the attraction admissions included with CityPass tend to be the really big name marquee attractions. Just to give you an idea of what's included with CityPass, I've got a couple of destinations that you can take a look at. New York is by far our best-selling ticket. Everybody wants to go to New York. So as you can see, we've got Empire State Building, American Museum of Natural History, the Metropolitan Museum of Art, and then we have Top of the Rock Observation Deck or the Guggenheim. You can pick one or the other. Statue of Liberty and Ellis Island, which is really a full day trip, I think, if you do it right, because it's the ferry to Statue of Liberty, which now has a brand new free museum that you can spend time in. You can go inside the statue, look around the park, then take the ferry over to Ellis Island, and your CityPass ticket gets you into the Ellis Island Immigration Museum, and then back to Manhattan on a ferry. So that can take several hours. If you don't have that much time, you can opt instead for the Circle Line sightseeing cruise. That's just a 1-hour cruise around the harbor, and it will take you past all those places. So you'll still get to see them and probably get some great photos. And then the 9/11 Memorial and Museum, which is a beautifully rendered museum, but it's a difficult museum to go through, and not everyone feels like they can do it. So we have that paired with the Intrepid Sea, Air and Space Museum. New York is one of the destinations where we see a lot of repeat travelers. And if you've been before, used a CityPass, you may have been to many of these attractions above. And we have a weekend ticket that we call the C3 ticket, which allows you to see 3 attractions. And you can choose from 12 options. So you get all those options that are included with the regular CityPass ticket. But then we've also added MoMA, the Museum of Modern Art, which just reopened last fall, I think, and they had done a massive renovation and expansion project. So that is definitely worth seeing. Hornblower sightseeing cruises. And then Edge Observation Deck at Hudson Yards, which is a brand new observation deck. I think they were open for maybe 3 days before New York closed everything down. So once New York starts to reopen, that will be open again as well. And then I just picked a couple other cities randomly. On the West Coast, we have Seattle, the Space Needles included, and the CityPass ticket gives you a little extra. You get 2 visits to the observation deck within 24 hours. So if you're battling between, do I want to go up during the daytime and kind of get the lay of the land, or do I want to go at night and see the lighted skyline, you don't have to worry. You can go twice and get both of those views. Seattle Aquarium, Argosy Cruises Harbor Tour, Museum of Pop Culture. If you like science fiction or music, I highly recommend MoPop. It is awesome. Woodland Park Zoo, maybe if you've got smaller children who want to do the zoo. And then Chihuly Garden and Glass is paired with Pacific Science Center. Pacific Science Center is very much oriented to kids and families. Chihuly Garden and Glass, a little bit older audience. And then Atlanta, you've got George Aquarium, World of Coca-Cola. CNN Studio Tours is on our ticket, but it is going to be closed through the end of this year. And that's because the studio tour actually goes through the studios and puts visitors in close proximity to their anchors and their reporters, and they're worried about someone bringing COVID into the studio. So we're reconfiguring Atlanta a little bit right now to find one of those other attractions that can move up into that third spot and take their place for the time being. But you've got the zoo, National Center for Civil and Human Rights, which is a fairly new museum, and it's so beautifully done. I highly recommend it. And then Fernbank Museum of Natural History, which is really fun for kids and families, and the College Football Hall of Fame, which I'm not a huge football fan, but I had a blast when I was there. So how does CityPASS work? It's one purchase. So instead of going to 6 or so attractions and having to buy individual tickets, you're buying one ticket, and that gets you into everything that you want to see. So one simple, easy purchase. We also have mobile tickets for all of our destinations now, and those are delivered instantly. So if you come to our website and you purchase a ticket, and it will show up in your email probably 2 to 3 seconds later. So you can literally be on the steps of an attraction, decide to buy a CityPASS, do it through your phone, and then scan it for entry into that attraction just moments later. And keep in mind that these are your actual admission tickets. They're not vouchers, they're not coupons. You don't have to exchange them for anything. You just simply go to the person who is taking tickets. And if you've got the printed ticket booklet, they'll scan the barcode before you go in. If you've got a mobile ticket, they'll scan the QR code. In you go, and you're having a great time. So some of the CityPASS benefits are you have those 9 consecutive days to use your admission tickets. There are other passes where you can buy like a 1, 3, or 5-day ticket, and they may give you 50 attractions to choose from. And as many of those 50 attractions as you can sprint to within that 1, 3, or 5-day period, your ticket gets you into them. But again, that was not the experience that our co-founders wanted visitors to have when they were using CityPASS. So we always give you 9 days, except for Denver, which is 7. There's always one oddball in the group. And so you have those 9 days. You can do everything at a leisurely pace and make sure that you're really immersing yourselves in the things that you want to see and do. At many of the attractions, there is a line skipping option for CityPASS holders. So there may be a special line that says CityPASS and members, or a FastPass line that you can use. And again, that's part of that time consideration. We always try and get line skipping for our ticket holders if we can, because who wants to stand in line on your vacation? We have a 97% customer recommendation rating currently. You can go to our website and see all the reviews. There's good and bad, mostly good, obviously, but we use a third party to collect those reviews. So we don't take anything down unless it's offensive in terms of language or anything. And to date, since 1997, we've sold 23 million CityPASS tickets. So we're a well-established company. We currently have 14 destinations and 109 partner attractions. As I mentioned before, we were launched in 97 in Seattle and San Francisco. The year after that, we added New York and Boston, and then we've steadily added new cities as the years have gone on. Our most recent addition is Orlando, Florida. And that's more of a theme park ticket. So it includes the Walt Disney World Resort and all the parks that fall under that umbrella, SeaWorld Florida, Legoland Florida Resort, and Universal Studios Orlando. And we currently have different types of programs now. It used to be that all of our destinations had those printed ticket booklets that had the pre-curated set of admission tickets for visitors to use. Mobile technology has given us a lot of different ways that we can offer tickets to visitors now. And for these 8 destinations that are on the screen, we still have the classic CityPASS printed ticket booklet, if that's your preference. And it's interesting, we do get a lot of journalists who will like the printed ticket booklet and want it because they use it for props in some of their photos that they're taking when they're researching a story. But for all of these cities, we also have a mobile ticket that you can use. And then for 2 of our destinations, New York and San Francisco, these are 2 cities where we see a lot of first-time visitors, but also a lot of repeat visitors that are just going back for a weekend. And so we have the regular ticket, which includes more admissions, and then the shorter stay C3 tickets, which get you into any 3 attractions that you want to visit. For San Francisco, you have 9 options. For New York, it's 12. And you don't have to pre-select your 3 attractions, and you can visit those attractions in any order. So once you have your C3 ticket, you just show up at any 3 of the attractions you want, wherever your fancy takes you that day. They'll scan the ticket and in you go. We have 2 destinations, Denver and Philadelphia, for which our average length of stay for a CityPASS buyer tends to be 2 to 3 days. So it's more of a weekend type of visit for our buyers. But both Denver and Philadelphia have a ton of great attractions. And instead of winnowing down those wonderful attractions to maybe just 3 or 4, what we decided to do for these 2 destinations is only have a mobile ticket. And for both Denver and Philadelphia, you can choose any 3, any 4, or any 5 attractions from the list of options. Philadelphia has 12 options, Denver has 8. And it's nice for families as well, because some of the attractions are really geared towards kids. And so families can generate or gravitate to those. And then if you're traveling sans children, you can maybe go to some of the attractions that might be better suited for adults. And then our 2 theme park areas, Southern California and Orlando, we just changed them this past year to a build your own custom ticket model. So for both of these destinations, what you would do is come to our website, and we can use Southern California as an example. Let's say you only want to do Disney and Universal. So those are the only tickets you put into your custom ticket bucket. But maybe you've got little kids and you want to do Legoland and the San Diego Zoo and Disneyland. Then you choose those parks and put them into your bucket. Then you get to choose the number of days for which you want your tickets to be valid. So if you're only going to be at Disney for 2 days, you get 2-day tickets. If you want to do 3-day or 4-day, you can do that as well. And then if it's a park that has more than one, or a resort that has more than one park under its umbrella, you can also choose if you want your tickets to be park hoppers, so you can go back and forth between the parks, or if you want to just do 1 park per day tickets. As you're doing on this, on the side of the screen will be a running total of what your tickets are costing, and right below that will be your savings. And you can adjust as needed. But then once you make your purchase, this comes again to your email. You've got mobile tickets and you are all set. So how is CityPASS dealing with the pandemic? I loved this line when I read it in the New York Times, that perhaps no industry has been as hard hit by the pandemic as tourism. And I'm sure that all of you out there who are listening can relate to that. The majority of our partner attractions are still closed. Tampa, all of the attractions are open. Houston, all but one, Space Center Houston, are open. And Space Center Houston was supposed to open on July 1st, but because of the spike in COVID cases in Texas, they pushed that back, and we're not exactly sure when that's going to take place now. Tampa, nothing is closed yet, but Florida is seeing spikes in cases as well. So we don't know if they're going to have to roll back openings also. To make things as easy as possible for our customers, every day we go in and review which attractions are still open. If we know an exact opening date, we will add that after their name. So if, for example, like we show on the screen, if you're interested in Houston and you want to make sure it's a good time to not only visit the destination, but to purchase a CityPASS, you can see all the attractions that are open. Or we used to have July 1st after Space Center Houston. Or you may see an opening date and say, well, we're going to push our trip out a week or so we can make sure to include whatever's coming up opening soon. But this is a daily, sometimes hourly exercise in trying to keep all this information updated. With the pandemic, and it looks like more people will be traveling closer to home, we are adding a 30-day validity for some of our destinations through February 28th, 2021, which is the end of our program year. And you'll see the list of destinations there for which you can get 30-day validity tickets. Research is showing us that mostly it's going to be local travel or nearby drive markets that are going to come back first. So we thought with the 30-day validity, maybe you're planning a staycation in your hometown, let's say Seattle, but you're still working during the week. With that 30-day validity, you now have 4 weekends in which to use your tickets instead of just the regular 2 weekends that you would have with the 9-day validity. So we're trying to make it easier for closer to home people to use a CityPASS. We're encouraging staycations right now and also mobile tickets, because that decreases the number of times you have to come in contact with another person. If you've got your mobile ticket, you don't have as many touch points. We have a web page or an area of our website where we are going over safety measures for all of the attractions. And so if you're planning to visit a particular attraction, you can go and see what measures they're taking to keep their visitors safe, and you'll find out if you have to wear a mask, what age has to wear a mask. Sometimes children who are under 10 don't have to. Sometimes it's if they're 3 or younger, they don't have to. So we have all that information collected there. You'll also be able to see if you need an advance reservation to go into an attraction. And if you do, our tech team has been working very hard so that you can make all of those advance reservations right through our website, and you don't have to bounce off to a different website to do all these different tasks. And then finally, we have always had a very generous return policy on our CityPASS tickets, but we're emphasizing that more now just because people are leery about making plans or making vacation purchases. So we're pushing that message up in our website and in our other materials to make sure people know that if you buy your CityPASS, you have a full year, 365 days in which to return it. So as long as you haven't used the tickets, you'll get a full refund. So how do we work with the media? We normally give 2 comp media tickets per destination per year, excluding Southern California and Orlando. The parks that are part of those programs don't allow us to give media comps, but we do have contacts for those parks. So if you are planning to do something specifically on Southern California or Orlando, we can always put you in touch with the right person. all of our comp tickets, we try and give you mobile tickets, but as I said, some journalists really like the printed ticket booklets because they use them in photographs, and we're happy to send those. We just need a little more time if you're going to request those, because those are sent from our headquarters, and CityPass World headquarters is in Victor, Idaho, a town of about 1,200 people in the Teton Valley of Idaho. The comps will work exactly the same as regular tickets. So when you're using your media comp and writing about it, your experience will be identical to what it would be for someone who purchased it on our website and used the tickets. As you're planning your travels, you can email us at mediarelations@citypass.com. That's our departmental email address. During this pandemic, we're all working shorter schedules, so we're not always there every single day, but there's always one person there. So if you email that address, it goes to everybody and someone can take care of your request right away. And we have a new media room that we just launched right before everything closed up, but it's media.citypass.com, and you can find information on each of our individual destinations there, logos, photos, lots of good information for you to use. And I think Corey may have some questions for me. I thought as I was answering questions, I would just leave my contact information on the screen. So this has both my personal email address, feel free to email me with anything you need, or the departmental email address, our media room URL, and then our social media handles.
Okay, Scott and I are going to do the question and answer, but before we do that, Scott, do you want to talk about our little tally, and if anybody else wants to pipe in about where they've been with CityPass or if they've used CityPass?
Sure, yeah. It looks like over half the people have actually used the CityPass. New York City is by far the most used, as Deborah said earlier. But we've had people that have used San Francisco, Tampa. I've used the Dallas and the Houston, as well as the New York City passes. And those, I think there's one Southern California. There are several people that have not used the pass, but they're certainly interested in using the pass in the future. So, I think most people are familiar with it, but as someone who's used it 3 or 4 times, I can highly encourage people to try to use it if you can. It saves time and money, and just makes things a lot less stressful and makes the trip more enjoyable.
Absolutely.
So we do have some questions. Corey, did you want to start, or do you want me to start?
You can start. Go ahead.
Okay. We have a question from Noreen. And Noreen asks, says, will Deborah be talking about the partners as well? I'm not sure exactly what she means.
Affiliate,
Noreen, you want to
she
explain?
might be affiliate partners. We do have an affiliate program that's run by our tourism marketing team, and journalists and bloggers can sign up to be part of that program. And I believe, I can't remember exactly what the commission is. I think it's 7% on most of our products. For the Southern California and Orlando tickets, you have to work directly with Disney and Universal on those. But for all of our other programs, you can do an affiliate link. And Noreen, if you want more information on that, email me and I can send you a link and put you in touch with our tourism marketing folks.
Okay, because we were asking people what city, I'm trying to find the questions. One of the questions we did get was, how many cities are you in? So could you maybe quickly list this, say how many and list the cities and include those in Canada, please?
Okay, so it's 14. I like to say destinations because a couple of our areas aren't specific cities, but we have Atlanta, Boston, Chicago, Dallas, Denver, Houston, New York City, San Francisco, Seattle, Southern California, and Southern California includes parks in Anaheim, Studio City, which is the Universal Parks, and then attractions in San Diego. Also Carlsbad, which is where Legoland is located. So it's that whole Southern California area. And then we have Tampa Bay, which is also more of a region. The attractions that are included in that pass are in Tampa, St. Petersburg, and Clearwater, Florida. All very close by, but in 3 different cities. And then Toronto, and I feel like I missed one, but I think that's it. So Toronto's our only international destination right now.
Okay, great. The next question comes from Mary Ann, and she says, how much does the Orlando City Pass cost?
That is a very good question because it really depends on which parks you choose, how many days you want your tickets to be valid for, and if you want park hoppers. So there is no set price for either Orlando or Southern California because you build that ticket to be specific to your needs. So as you're building it, you'll see your price, but there's no set price like there used to be for Southern California.
Okay, I have a question from Norm. He says, I'm overseas. What do you have to offer if someone's coming to the US or, visiting? Can they apply for to get a city pass for a particular city? I think that's what
Oh,
I'm trying to ask, but I'm not sure.
yeah. Absolutely. Yes, we deal with probably, I would say, 35% of the journalists with whom we work are international. And we do offer mobile tickets in 7 different languages. So if you're coming from Brazil, we can get you your tickets in Portuguese. If you're coming from France, we can send them in French. So even though most of our international travelers speak English beautifully, it's still nice to have a lot of that information in your native language. So if you are, if English isn't your first language, we can offer tickets in Chinese, Portuguese, Spanish, Italian, German, French, and English. So yeah, absolutely. If you're an international traveler, just email us and we're happy to work with you.
Okay, I have a question here, Deborah, from Penny. Well, let's see. I don't know if it's a question or just a statement. It said she lives in Dallas about 3 years ago, that she requested a media pass and was told they were not giving passes to locals. So is there a policy where locals are sometimes not allocated the same type of passes, maybe someone from the outside?
No, I don't know why she would have been told that. Typically we don't market to locals because the City Pass in its original form with that 9-day usage period is obviously geared to visitors, transient visitors who are coming into the area and then leaving. But if you're a journalist in the area and you're writing about City Pass, yeah, that's not a problem. So yeah, if she wants to email me again once things start to reopen, we'd be happy to give her some tickets to try out.
Okay, great.
In addition to that, now with COVID, I'm just asking this out of curiosity. Are you going to cater more to locals to see what's in their own city?
We are for now. That's kind of our stage 1 of marketing because so much of the research that's coming out of the U.S. Travel Association indicates that local travel, staycations, or close-in drive market travel will be the first to return. So that's definitely something that we want to take advantage of. And that's why we added the 30-day validity for most of our destinations, just to make it easier for people who live locally, but may still have to work during the week to use all their CityPASS admission tickets. And so local is first, and then as things get better, which I hope is soon, we'll do more of a regional and then a national strategy. And then once international travel comes back, we'll go back to our regular global strategy.
Okay. Deborah, there's another question here that I almost skipped. It's from Janine Consoli. It says, if you start your visit and then cannot continue, do you get a refund for unused days?
If you, let's say you bought tickets for Houston and you only made it to one attraction, and then for whatever reason, a family emergency came up, or there was some sort of disaster that closed the other attractions, then yes, we'll give you a partial refund on the tickets that you haven't used.
Okay, our next question is from Judy Cohen. I'm in Toronto. Many attractions are not yet opened here. How has COVID impacted CityPASS?
Well, it's been devastating, like it has been for so many other businesses. We went, I think it was 3 months with negative sales because we were doing refunds for people who weren't able to take their vacations and wanted to get their money back on their tickets. So for 3 months, our revenues were in the negative column. We are starting to see some sales now in Tampa and Houston. But still, it's been really, really hard.
Okay. David had a question that sort of relates to that one. David says, what precautions do you see attractions taking to assure people they'll be safe? And you did touch on that, so I don't know if you want to go into any more detail.
Yeah, well, if you go to a particular destination on our website and then link to the visitor information page, that will give you the specific precautions that each attraction is taking. But most of them are doing, I would say, limited capacity, and that can be anywhere between 25 to 50%. It tends to be a lower percentage if it's an indoor museum as opposed to a zoo where you're primarily outdoors. A lot of the zoos are not having their indoor spaces open, but they're keeping all the exterior outside exhibits open. So reduced capacity is a big one. Masks are required at a lot of the attractions. I don't think all of them, but a lot of them. And then they usually have an age minimum. So if you have really small children, typically they're exempted from that. And I have seen, I think one attraction, it was up to 10 years of age. You didn't have to wear a mask. Then some of the indoor attractions are doing this sort of one-way flow through the museum. So instead of looking at an exhibit and saying, oh, I want to go back and see that thing we just looked at, you're on a one-way path through the museum. So there's no passing people and maybe passing on any germs to them. So it's kind of a one-way path through those museums. Hand sanitizing stations all over. Most of our attractions, if they can do it, not all of them are in the 21st century yet, but if they can, they're encouraging mobile tickets, which they can scan from a bit of a distance and they don't have to actually touch anything like a ticket booklet. I think those are the primary ones that I've seen.
Okay, I got a question from someone who could not attend, Lori Sweet. She wanted to know, are you going to be opening more locations in Canada? I mean, currently you just have Toronto.
We're always looking at new destinations, and I will say we have looked at some in Canada, but we don't have anything signed and definite yet, so I can't say what those would be. We had 2 destinations domestically that we're going to open this year, but I think we're going to push those back to 2021 just because it's too hard for the destination right now pull
Can you
everything
mention
together.
what those destinations are, or is it top
No,
secret?
not until the contracts are signed. Sorry.
Okay, that's right. I knew that question was going to come up from someone on the trip, so I figured I better ask it.
Okay. Deborah, Andy Harris asked, please further explain the 30-day validity for the passes.
Okay, so normally you have 9 days to use your tickets, and that means that when you scan that very first admission, let's say you go to Space Needle, when the Space Needle staff person scans your ticket, your countdown clock starts, and you have 9 days in which to use the remaining tickets in your ticket booklet or on your mobile ticket. So for the 30-day validity, for those destinations that were listed, and I can maybe scroll back to those quickly so you can see the full list. There it is. So for these destinations, the first day that you use an admission, you'll now have 30 days to use the remaining admission tickets. And that is on, even if you bought your tickets before but hadn't activated them, that 30-day validity will still apply. And that validity applies to any tickets for any of those destinations that are activated between now and February 28th, 2021. So even if you start your tickets on February 28th, 2021, you'll still get that 30-day validity. And we may extend that depending on what happens with this pandemic. But for right now, we're just doing it through the end of our program year, and then we'll probably reevaluate in December or January. Did that answer everything, Andy?
Yes, Andy said thanks, so yes, it did. Then we have it. This goes along with what we said, but I'm going to kind of change it the question a little bit, only because I think, you know, you kind of brought it up. But Noreen asked, "Do you have plans to add other cities in the future?" So maybe you could say the cities that are on CityPass's wish list. Maybe that's a better way to put it. It doesn't matter whether you signed a contract or not.
Oh, Corey, you are not going to trick me into getting into trouble.
Didn't know I was going to be like that. No.
Sorry.
Okay, well, Noreen, you don't get to know anymore, but that we do know that they are. Well, let me ask this. Would a goal be to try to have a lot of more big cities in the United States, meaning from each state, because you don't represent every state right currently?
You know, it used to be when we just had the printed ticket booklet, so that was back in the 90s, that if you didn't have a certain level of visitation to your destination, CityPass just didn't make sense there because there's such a cost in printing all those tickets. So you have to have a minimum number of sales and visitors to break even. With mobile tickets now, we're able to go into smaller destinations or cities that maybe don't have as many visitors. The mobile tickets, because we don't have to pay for printing costs, make it much more flexible. And that's why we added Denver 2 years ago. I think it was 2 years ago. They originally were a little too small for us in terms of the number of visitors, but once we had the mobile ticket option, we could definitely go in, and it made sense economically to do that. So yeah, we would love to add more destinations, and the new technology allows us to do not only major cities, but smaller ones too.
Well, I do know we have Doug McKinsey from Visit Phoenix with us, so maybe the two of you can connect. I don't know if he was thinking that way, but I'll point that out.
I'd like to have Phoenix.
Thank you. We love CityPass. There's all sorts of opportunities out across America and North America. So when things get back to normal, one never knows what surprises will be there.
Okay. Good to hear your voice, Doug.
Good to see you.
I think, Scott, do we have any other questions? Last minute for questions. I don't think so. So let me tell you about how we're doing the drawing since I didn't have my husband to pull it. I have gone through, I've given everybody a number who joined, and I took raffle tickets, as you can see here, that I had at home and put a number on them. I have them in a big bag, and I'm going to shake the bag, but while I'm shaking the bag, Deborah's going to tell you a little bit about what she is offering to the winner.
So we're giving away 2 adult CityPASS tickets to any of the following destinations that are listed in red on the screen. And I can make those mobile tickets if that's easier for folks. The tickets just need to be activated, which means the first use takes place within 1 year of the issuance date. And these are going to be promotional comp tickets, not media comp tickets. So if you win a couple and you want to give them away to a friend or a family member, you can do that. They can be used by anybody.
And how long are they good for, Deborah?
If we do mobile tickets, they just have to be activated within 1 year. And obviously, we're a small, friendly group. So if you don't get around to using them within 1 year, just let me know. We can always issue new ones and you'll have more time.
Okay, so hand in the bag, mixing around, and I pulled one. And the winner is Deidre. Deidre, do you want to let Deborah unmute and let Deborah know what city you would like? I hope Deborah's still here. If she's not here, we're doing another poll.
Oh my gosh, I never win anything. I'm so excited.
And Deirdre, if you want to take some time and think about it, that's fine too. You can just email me whenever you decide.
I sure will. It'll probably be a drive market given what's going on. But thank you so much for all this wonderful information today.
Oh, you're welcome. And congratulations.
Thank you.
So with that, we're actually ending a little bit early, which is good. I want to, first of all, thank Deborah for joining us. This has been really great, and I'm sure everybody got a lot out of it. Thank you, Scott, for hosting it with me. I want to tell you, I mentioned that it looks like on July 22nd, we're going to have a webinar on video editing. It's going to be taught, it's going to be a panel discussion because I'm having trouble getting my husband to make up a PowerPoint. But my husband will talk about it in the point of view as someone who edits for TV and film, so he can give you some hints that you would not normally get. But Scott and I will do that as a panel discussion because I know Scott has a lot of experience with doing making videos for his blog and just all that. If I missed something, Scott, pipe in. After that, I'm going to tell you a little bit about what's upcoming. Some things we don't have scheduled yet. A lot of this is wine oriented because some of the CVBs and destinations have not gotten back to me. I do know in terms of destination, we still have to set up a date. Doug with Phoenix would like to do a webinar. Costa Mesa would like to do, and also Woodley with what, Doug?
Yes.
And then the I can't even say it, Woodley Islands wants to do, and we're working on that. But what we do have set up is on August 26th, Stacy Hunt, who lives here in Los Angeles, has done presentations before, wine presentations, is going to be taking us on a journey to Val de Guadalupe in Baja. On September 9th, we have Paso Robles. I'm still waiting to hear exactly what we are going to be doing. We are scheduling the Finger Lakes, the Michigan Wine Trail out of Traverse City, Michigan. And then we also are going to have one with the Craft Wine Association. So those, we're just David and I are just finalizing the dates. So I don't have them right in front of you, but I will put them up. We will be putting them up on the IFTWA website and also on the, I'll be noting it in Facebook. I'm sorry. So if anybody has other ideas of webinars or has contacts with destinations, we're great. We would love to hear from you or put us in connection. We are having I put out to a lot of our associates, we're trying to get some East Coast people to speak, but we've had more interest from people on the West Coast. So it's not a matter of we're trying to do one side of the country versus another. It's just what we can get. So with that, oh, Scott has a question. Scott, you asked the question.
Well, it's not really a question. I was just making a statement. If there's anything that anybody in particular wants to know when we do the video presentation, there may be a particular thing that you want to see while we present, you can just email me, and that way when Corey and her husband and I get together, we can kind of put together something that will be useful for the user. So again, any specific requests for video editing or any general questions about videos, just email me and we'll do our best to answer it.
Yes, because actually, Scott, my husband said the same thing. He wanted everybody to submit so we can gear the video presentation to what people want.
Okay, great.
So with that, I think we're going to end the program, and since we have no more questions, and we look forward to seeing you at the next webinar on July 22nd. And thank you again, Deborah.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.